Welcome to Soul Searchers. My name's Brian.
And I'm Ricky. And today we're here at the Rippavilla Plantation.
This plantation is located just outside the city limits of Spring Hill here in Murray County.
On right off of I-31, right?
Highway 31, yes.
Yeah. Today we're going to take a walk inside this beautiful location and introduce you to the docent here at Rippavilla and talk, for starters at least, about all of the history that has taken place right here. So come and join us.
All right, we're here with Chuck, who is the docent for Rippavilla Plantation. Docent, Greek terms, is actually, it means teacher. So welcome, Chuck. We appreciate you being here.
Thank you. Welcome to Rippavilla.
Thank you.
We're glad to be here. And of course, my very first question that I have to ask is, when was Rippavilla built?
Construction started in 1852, and the family moved in 1855.
Okay.
And they were here until 1895.
And what family is that?
The Cheairs family.
The Cheairs family, okay.
Well, I actually stayed in the family until 1920. The builders, Susan and Nathaniel Cheairs, were married 52 years. She died here in 1893. He sold the house in 1895 and moved to Waco, Texas. He sold the house to his son, Will. Will sells the house out of the family in 1920.
Now, I'm pretty sure that I heard that there was, there's like a twin property, or some structures are similar to...
Ferguson Hall is very close to this house. Ferguson Hall was the home of Martin Cheairs, which was Nat Cheairs, the man who built this house, his big brother. A lot of copying going on. Ferguson Hall is older, but this one, it was definitely an influence on this one.
Oh, okay.
And we had a spiral staircase over here until 1895. If you want to see what our spiral staircase looked like, go see the one at Ferguson Hall.
So this was a spiral staircase. And I'm sorry, when did you say that was redone?
1895.
Oh, okay. So this is still
Torn out, and yeah, still
a very classic old staircase.
And easier to move furniture on.
I'm sure. Well, so I would love this entryway is completely beautiful, and I would love it if you could possibly just kind of take us around on a little tour.
Sure.
Okay, so now we are in a room right off of the front entrance, and is there a name for this room?
This is Miss Susan Cheairs' music room. Mrs. Cheairs was a very talented musician. She played the piano, the harpsichord, the melodeon, the organ, and the guitar.
Oh, wow.
And had a beautiful singing voice, spoke fluent French, and was a pretty good seamstress as well. I've got several of her pieces that she made. The sofa, Empire sofa, beside us, and this music box, it's a post-Civil War music box, are family pieces.
They are family
pieces. And this secretary in the corner, along with the chair, the carbide lamp or gas lamp. There's some cloisonne ivory pieces, and the books are all family pieces as well.
Oh, that's great. Now, I have to ask, as far as the decor, the wallpaper and paint colors.
Spot on 1855, when they were renovating the house, they brought people in that did the right. They used patterns from, of course, this stuff is still available. But everything is period 1855, 1865.
Okay, so not original.
No.
Obviously, it looks like it's been kept up very nice. So not original, but very close
to
the original,
yes.
What was here. Let's go to another room down here on the first floor. I noticed, like right off the bat, that this is very open here.
Yes. Now this room that we're fixing to step into is actually the old carriage entrance.
Oh, okay.
And then the following room at the end of the hall is Nathaniel's study. The table, about an 1820 Empire style piece. We have it there because we don't have room for it in the dining room. It's such an expensive antique that when we do buffets and brunches, we can't let people use it.
Oh, okay.
They ruin it.
So that actually is not the dining room.
No.
But
and it's not a family piece either.
Okay. But it is an antique.
Yes. Yeah, about 1820.
Wow. Okay. Now, for those of you that are watching, we kind of did a circle around on the first floor around the main entrance, and so now we are on the other side of the main entrance, and this room would have been used for
parlor. It's a formal parlor.
And that's pretty much how it's been used for all the owners?
Yes, yes.
And why don't you tell us a little bit about the front pieces of furniture?
The furnishings in here are Empire. They are antebellum pieces. Now, these are not the original pieces that were in the room, but I do have the original set upstairs in the museum room. But because we have to move furniture frequently, it's hard on the furniture.
And the reason you do tours here on a regular basis,
right.
correct?
Right, but then we might have the Civil War Roundtable from Chicago in here with 80 people, and they want lunch, and we have we'll charter a caterer or a subcontractor caterer in, so we've got to roll in here and set up tables for 80, feed them, break them down, clean up, and then bring the furniture back in place.
Now, is there a place that we can send our viewers to if they want to get more information on
Yes,
Rippavilla?
just call Rippavilla. They can go to us.
And that's good for setting up a tour as well?
Yeah, we're on Facebook. We also have a web page, and we are also listed in the Spring Hill directory. We're open every day except Christmas and New Year's, and so there's usually somebody here.
Okay, well, great. Now we're going to go ahead and move on into what was referred to as the dining room and talk a little bit about the Civil War history that exists here at Rippavilla.
All right, Chuck. My favorite part of this whole thing is the Civil War history.
Mine too.
Great, great. So I heard that General Hood was here at some point in time.
He was.
Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yep. A couple of myths that have flown out of this house for the last 152 years. One, that John Bell Hood was under the influence of laudanum or some painkiller, and there's absolutely no truth to that. There's no proof, so no script pad or journal entry, so he was just having a bad morning. The second rumor is that the 6 Confederate generals killed at Franklin, Generals Gist, Straw, Granberry, Claiborne, Adams, and Carter, were here for a large breakfast meeting that morning, a council of war, and that they all sat around a very large mahogany table. Well, that's a large mahogany table right there. None of the generals killed at Franklin were here that morning. They were on the field with their command. My favorite, Pat Claiborne, was at least a mile from here. And what we do know that morning is that Mrs. Cheairs was running around here in some sort of a bedlam-like state. Her husband's in a prisoner of war camp in Columbus, Ohio. Her son's an active participant in the battle with Bedford Forrest. There are dead men in the yard. There are dead men laying where they fell. The barn's full of wounded and prisoners. That whole side of the house is being used as a surgery. Every room in this house is being filled in the room with wounded soldiers from both sides. And about 6:30 in the morning, there's a knock at the door, and it is John Bell Hood, Governor Isham Harris of Tennessee, and Bedford Forrest. And the question proposed by General Forrest is there a place in your house that I can establish a headquarters in the field? And I think it was followed by the way, we're quite peckish. Is there anything to eat, Mom? And they come. Now, this room was completely empty. The large mahogany table disappeared sometime in either 1861 or 62. It depends on what family legend you listen to, but it ain't here and it wasn't here then. What we do know is that Mrs. Cheairs was bringing chairs, no pun intended, from all over the house. These two are horsehair chairs. They are from a pre-Civil War antebellum dining room suit. They were here. This chair is part of the original parlor suite that was in that room. It was recovered about 20 years ago, so we know it was in the next room. And we have a plethora of chairs that were here at the time. But these 3 chairs were in one of these 2 rooms at the time. We know that Mrs. Cheairs had this table over here in the corner brought up out of the kitchen. It's an 1818 piece, slave made by slave craftsmen, set up in the corner, and that breakfast was ham, biscuits, sorghum, and coffee that morning, and that's where it was set up. We also know that the generals had coffee from these 2 pots. These were returned to us by Livy, a great-great-granddaughter of the Cheairs this summer. She lived in Wheeling, West by God, Virginia, and she decided that they needed to come home. And she said these were the 2 pots my grandmother served the generals coffee from, and these are the 2 that she hid in the garden when the Yankees were approaching in 1862. Now, not a lot's known about the conference. Some people say this is where the orders to find Schofield and attack him at Franklin were given. Some people say it was the Harrison House. What we do know is that Mrs. Cheairs was thanked for her hospitality by General Hood and General Forrest, and then General Hood, according to Mrs. Cheairs, asked her if she could please excuse herself because the language in this room was not fit for a lady of her pedigree. And it reflects in the Old Testament there was much gnashing and shouting and shouting and gnashing of teeth going on here. Of course, the Hood Forrest argument starts in here. It spills out on the front porch where we're talking out in front of the house. Hood leaning against the column because he's missing one leg and literally has a bum arm. And that is where John Bill Hood told him that if he were a whole man, he would beat him within an inch of his life.
Wow.
We do know that Hood was here that morning with Forrest and with Isham Harris, the governor of Tennessee, maybe a few staff officers, but nobody else that we can prove. I'd like to put all 7 of them in here, but we can't.
So the mood in this room or in this whole area would have been pretty dim. You know, the war, you know, the battle had just taken place. How many hours?
Well, it's 6:30 in the morning. The Union Army was gone by 2 in the morning. Hood has just learned that, quoting him, that the best laid scheme of his entire career basically was gone.
Wow.
And to make matters worse, John Schofield, the Union commander, was his old buddy from West Point. They were very close friends before and after the war. And so he'd been hoodwinked by one of his buddies. So it was not a happy time at Camp Rippavilla, to say the least.
Would there have been soldiers here on the property at that time? Or?
Yes, the house is being used from the 29th of November until December the 18th as a Confederate field hospital. The barn is used as a stockade. It's used as a shelter for the wounded. And literally every room in this house is packed in the room with soldiers on the floors, on the beds.
Wow.
The floors in this I've been told by family members and folks in there, were quite blood-stained. And one of the reasons that the floors were covered in the 1920s was to cover the stains up.
Wow. Yeah, that's a terrible vision to think about, especially in this beautiful home,
Yep.
to have so much pain and suffering going on.
Yep, and this was the next to the last occupation. The Federal troops under James Wilson will occupy this house from December the 18th till about New Year's Eve, 1864. The Confederates retreat out of here. Wilson's men are right on their heels, but Wilson was very much a gentleman. He moved Mrs. Cheairs and the children into Nathaniel's study and left them alone. And then when he did pull out, he actually left 2 armed guards on the premises to protect it from looters. And it was one of these armed guards that tipped Nathaniel off a couple of months after the war ended that he was about to be arrested by federal marshals. And Nathaniel was able to make his escape out of Murray County, and he ended up going to Washington, D.C. He was a close Masonic friend of President Andrew Johnson. They were Masonic brothers, knew each other through the Grand Lodge of Tennessee. And Nat met with Mr. Johnson in the White House, and he got a full presidential pardon. He also got a letter from the president stating that upon presentation of this letter, all properties confiscated from Major Nathaniel Francis Cheairs IV was to be returned immediately, signed Andrew Johnson, President of the United States. So